All right, let's get to Monday Night Football, where the Lions house the 49ers. 40 points. They win 40-34. It feels like this Lions team, we all know the defense is like running on fumes at this point, and it looked like it for the vast majority of that game. But it kind of feels like any number they need to get to, they are also capable of getting to that number at this point.
Yeah, if they want to.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about the power rankings later on and how I think this Lions unit fits into them. But I would say this, to your point, Ben Johnson, Jared Goff, that offense, they can do no wrong, in my opinion, and they can match any number. But, we've talked about it all year. We have major, major concerns about that defense. And not only the injuries, but the depth there, the talent level that's on the football field. Kyle Shanahan was out to prove a point that him and Ben Johnson aren't too far off in terms of offensive minds in the National Football League last night. And I think that it was apparent to me that Ben Johnson has answers for everything. Kyle Shanahan, a lot of answers. Ben Johnson, answers for everything. So much fun to watch. And if you tailed me on best bets, I had the Lions. I knew Dan Campbell was going to show up with everybody, with everything. And that's exactly what they did. And they got that taste out of their mouth from the NFC Championship last year.
Yeah. Well, he didn't go for it on fourth down, so he didn't. There was no.
He did it a number of times.
No, I mean in key situations, though. I don't think that defense can win a title.
That's the biggest thing. Are they? Because the last few weeks, it's just been like anything anyone wants.
Well, they're giving up.
They're
giving up the most passing yards per attempt.
Yeah, this team will not win the Super Bowl.
5 weeks of the season, it can't win that way. And here's the other thing: as great as the offense is, they didn't turn the ball over. At some point, you're going to turn a fumble is going to pop out, or a quarterback's going to get hit, and the ball's going. Then how do you come out from underneath that? That's the problem. As great as they are on offense, that's going to be the issue.
We saw a great rusher last night, Nick Bosa, getting home quickly on that left tackle spot. Taylor Decker, who's been an absolute stalwart for the Detroit Lions. He's seen the shit years, the great years, but they're not infallible up front. I mean,
Penei Sewell too.
They have a great unit there up front, but anybody can get it at any time. And when you get into the playoffs, that's when those elite rushers start to flow in, week out.
And the interesting thing, though, to me is that this offense actually, without David Montgomery, almost looks better.
It's better.
I think it might be. I mean, now they obviously split the time because Montgomery can take more of a punishment. Montgomery's that sort of like short yardage back, and Gibbs, trimmer. You just don't want him getting the 20-plus touches a game he has since Montgomery's gone down, just for longevity's sake. But he's far more dynamic in the open field, and that's an offensive line that creates open field opportunities as well as anyone, them and the Eagles. It's like neck and neck for who gives their running back the most space. If I got to running back out in space, I want it to be Jahmyr Gibbs in this offense.
Yes.
Plus, he's also, kicked aside the notion that he couldn't be between the tackles running.
Yeah,
too.
He runs hard.
And look, you said for the longevity, maybe it's best for him, but for the best for them is for him to be the guy getting the carries. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's any question. David Montgomery's a good player, but this guy's special. And so it makes sense. And so, look, I didn't like the pick when they picked him in large part because I don't think you pick running backs. And, Lion fans keep coming at me because they bring back my grade from it when I picked it. And the reason I say that is, and I come back at them and I say, come check back with me in 5 or 6 years.
That's it.
Because the value of the position is what ultimately that pick becomes the value of the position. Right now, it's a great pick. In 5 years, when he's wearing down or he's getting banged up, it won't be a great pick. And so you better win a title if you're going to make that kind of.
But this team isn't going to win a title.
At some point, if they had their guys, they probably would win the title.
But they don't have their guys. So I'm saying this underlined, italicized,
I like it,
bolded, is not going to win a title. That's not going to happen, in my opinion, because defenses win championships. I know offenses get you there and in large part keep you in football games. But it's that one stop you can make. It's the 2 stops in the fourth quarter that ended up being the difference in these football games.
But if they have 2 home games, if they win this,
and that's the biggest thing. This week 18 to me is if they can win it all. It depends purely on can they win week 18.
What happens when Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson vacate the premises and Dan Campbell is left there?
Well, you're talking about you're saying they can't win a title this year.
Can't win it this year because of the state of
the
health.
Then when those guys leave after this year, you can't win it Even if let me ask you
unless
this.
there's some guy drawing cards during scout team that has
Well, they do.
Through osmosis has retained Ben Johnson's brain matter and been able to carry that over to next year when Ben Johnson is gone. And they've got a master motivator on defense who's taken all the notes in the world on Aaron Glenn's stuff. That's tough to sustain the excellence that the Detroit Lions had this year. And I know Dan Campbell is the epitome of a culture guy at the coach position, but we're going to find out a lot about his staff building. We're going to find out a lot about the newly planted Ben Johnson offensive tree, coaching tree, because that's what it's going to be.
Well, they've also allowed it's the quality control / passing game guy. I forget what his name is. He's actually called plays. They allow him to do that in the preseason.
That's Tanner Engstrand.
That's exactly who it is. Yeah. And so he's been called. So they're preparing for that. And here's the other quote. You talk about Aaron Glenn's a great coach. I think Aaron Glenn's going to be the coach of the Saints or the Jets, one of them. He should be. And I think he's earned that right. I think he's going to do a great job. But would you rather have Aaron Glenn calling your defense, or would you rather have Hutchinson, McNeil, and Carlton Davis back on the field? Because that's what you're going to have next year.
That's what I would want.
You'd rather have the players.
Yeah, but
obviously.
Yeah.
So then
what happens to the offense?
If you have the same players,
there's going to be a fall off.
Yeah. If you get the right coach in there won't be a fall off. If the guy understands the aspects of the offense and how to call it, and when
the right coach is there, his name's Ben Johnson.
Yeah, but we've seen guys leave and become good coaches, and guys come up behind them and become good coaches. Yeah. I think look, if the offensive line is intact, and they have some decision to make there, but if the offensive line's intact, Goff's back, Gibbs is back, Montgomery's back, the wide receivers are back, the tight end's back.
Be competitive, but
you could call that offense. It's just not going to be as good.
This is the window right now.
I don't.
And with the injuries on that defense, it ain't going to happen this year.
I disagree with you on the window.
They're not even the best team.
Well,
in the
I think
NFC
it could
North.
also happen this year. I think as long as, again, Vikings game is the first, has to happen, first domino. They win that game, though, it's only 2 playoff games at home. And this offense at home is damn near unstoppable, right? Like they are going to, again, they just have to win 2 shootouts is all.
But would it be like the Bills game? That's what I mean.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, like it will be, right? Whoever they play, I'm thinking it will be.
They're going to get loose.
So let's spin
But if they have to go on the road, if they're the 5 seed, it's
day one. They win this week. They're the 1 seed. They get the bye. Then
they're probably playing whichever wild card wins. So the Packers, Vikings, or Commanders. They're probably playing one of those 3. Because I'm guessing one of those 3 will win.
Vikings
all of those teams can score 40.
They score 40.
Yep. So they better score 45.
Yep.
I mean, it's going to be one of those. It's going to be one of those things where you're going to have to score a ton of points.
Brian Flores is licking his chops for an opportunity to prove his mettle as a defensive coordinator in a huge game with the opportunity to be a head coach. I can't wait to see that matchup.
Either way, I'll just say this. The Lions are going to be awesome to watch in the playoffs because of that. Because their defense is so bad. Because they're going to empty the tank. Ben Johnson's going to, the hook and ladder we saw yesterday.
What are you doing?
He's going to drop something even crazier. If he's dropping those plays already, he's going to have even more in the tank come playoff time.
By the way, if you think about the NFC playoffs, who can't score? The one team that you have concerned about that can't score is the one you thought that could score, and that's the Rams.
The Rams are the worst.
What's getting exposed for the Rams? They don't run.
Well, yeah.
They don't have speed. And so
their running back pass protects.
They're truly all of their starting skill players are above 4.6 40s. Their running back, their tight end, they're
slow.
2 wide receivers.
But they got football speed, man.
Yeah, but you can watch the tape.
Don't you remember that combine drill that Puka did?
I mean, think about how much they've scored in the last 3 weeks.
It was 13 last week.
Yeah, terrible. And so, but everybody else, the Bucs can score. If they will win again. Bucs can score. Commanders can score. Eagles, Vikings, Packers. They can all score.